Today, we're going to unpack a really powerful legal idea, one that comes straight from a Supreme Court ruling, and it might just change how you think about your role as a citizen. It's a concept that basically asks, what if the law itself sort of deputized you to protect the public good?
So let me ask you this. Have you ever seen something wrong happening and thought, man, someone should really do something about that? Well, what if that someone could actually be you? What if the law gave you the power to file a lawsuit, not just for your own personal gain, but for the good of everyone? I mean, is that even a thing?
Well, the answer is a resounding yes. And we're not talking about some obscure loophole here. In certain very specific cases, the law is written to intentionally empower private citizens, people just like you and me, to step up and take legal action on a huge scale.
And this powerful idea, it actually has a formal name, the Private Attorney General.
Think of it like a kind of authorized legal neighborhood watch. The government has its official attorneys general to enforce laws, right? But they can't be everywhere all at once. So certain laws effectively deputize private citizens who've been harmed, letting them act in the public interest and help out with the government's own enforcement efforts.
So, where in the world did this remarkable idea even come from? Well, it turns out, to really understand its impact today, we've got to look back at an old law that served as the original blueprint.
And that blueprint is the Clayton Act. Now, this was a huge antitrust law from way back in the early 20th century. It was designed to stop giant corporations from becoming monopolies and just crushing all the competition. But the truly innovative thing about it wasn't just what it outlawed, it was who it empowered to enforce it. You see, the law was deliberately injury-focused. That means it was built to be used by the very people and the small businesses who are actually being hurt by these illegal corporate practices. The whole goal was to turn victims into fighters, creating an entire army of private enforcers to help police the market.
Okay, so let's fast forward several decades. Lawmakers are facing a totally new and dangerous national problem. So what do? They reach back into the history books, dust off that old blueprint from the Clayton Act, and use it to build an even more powerful tool.
That new problem was organized crime, which had its tentacles in huge parts of the American economy. To fight it, Congress created the now famous RICO Act. But when they needed a way to give RICO some real teeth in civil court to hit criminal organizations where it really hurts, their wallets, they didn't reinvent the wheel.
And this connection is no accident. The Supreme Court itself pointed to a clear legislative record showing that when Congress built RICO's civil enforcement part, they were deliberately modeling it on the Clayton Act. This was a completely intentional choice.
I mean, the family resemblance here is just unmistakable. Both the Clayton Act and RICO are injury-focused. You have to be personally harmed to bring a case. Both were set up to encourage civil lawsuits as a primary weapon. And this is the key. Both rely on lawsuits led by regular citizens to be the enforcement engine. The core philosophy was basically lifted and shifted to create this powerful new tool.
So, we've seen the what and the how, which brings us to the most important question of all. Why? Why would Congress design laws this way, decades apart? Well, it's because both of these laws were trying to achieve the exact same big-picture goal. It was really a two-part mission. First, and this is the obvious part, they wanted to compensate the victims for the harm they suffered. That's all about individual justice. But the second goal, that's where the idea gets so much bigger. The law also tries to transform those very same victims into these private attorneys general.
And that change, from just being a victim to becoming an enforcer, that reveals the true purpose of this whole legal setup. It was never just about one person getting what they were owed. It was always about accomplishing something much, much bigger for society as a whole.
And the grand purpose was always about supplementing government efforts by undertaking litigation in the public good. What does that really mean? It means your personal lawsuit becomes an act of public service. It's a way to crowdsource law enforcement by enlisting everyday citizens on the front lines to help uphold the law for everyone. So, ultimately, in the eyes of these laws, a citizen who has been wronged isn't just a victim. You are a potential partner for the government. You are a force multiplier for justice.
And that leaves us with a pretty provocative question, doesn't it? If the law itself sees you as a potential private attorney general, if it grants you this potential power to guard the public good, what kind of responsibilities do you think come along with that? Something to think about.